Welcome out. This is the Remix Morning Show. Right here on Black Liberation Media. In case you didn't know, I go by the name of the Ear Doctor. And yes, we are here to bring you that boom bap breakfast, but not just me. I'm talking about us. So get on the bus, get on the train, get on the plane. But not in Atlanta. There's some things going on right now. With that said, let me introduce you to the host, Renee Johnston. And Evan.
What's good? What's good?
Yo. Top of the morning to y'all.
I just want everybody to know that Ear Doctor goes through this extensive process before he hits the go button, during which he talks to himself, and then he realizes that everybody can hear him talk to himself, and then he starts to count down, and for some inexplicable reason this morning the countdown was 3, 1, 2, which literally makes no sense.
That countdown is not for us.
It's definitely.
That's okay. That's okay.
I was like, what just happened?
And those words just stand for like numbers. You know, it don't even matter. You know, I speak different languages sometimes.
I mean, those words do mean numbers.
They do. It's not the right order.
I
mean, take this for instance, man. I mean, look at my background right here. You know, a lot of people get mad at me because I got a red, black, and green background. But it's upside down, they say. I'm like, does it matter? I don't understand people, you know. But anyway, it's good to see all y'all. Let's get back to my beautiful AI background. What's good? How was your weekend?
My weekend
was good. Evan. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I guess I need to ask.
My weekend was good. Yeah, had some good organizing meetings for stuff I can't say right now, but exciting stuff in the future. Yeah, good weekend for me. What about you, Renee?
I spent a lot of time in the car this weekend because we drove to Nashville. Ugh. So, yeah, it's a long drive, man. It's a long drive.
That is a drive. My mom's from Tennessee, though. That's dope.
Oh, really? I mean, Nashville's okay. It's interesting. It's interesting. I don't know, places that don't seem to have any access to fruits and vegetables. I've never seen. I'm like,
welcome to the South.
I'm like, how is there a whole city and I can't find like a salad or a smoothie joint? Like what? Oh. I don't know. I don't know if it was just where we were or what, but I was like, I feel like this is deeply unhealthy. But
it seems like everybody knows the person on the thumbnail. Tafari says, "Laugh out loud." That's Holly Jarama's son in the front.
Haile Garima.
Yeah, there you go. I'm glad you knew how to pronounce it.
I mean,
let's pull that one up real quick. There you go. Look like he's leading a lot of the Caucasians somewhere.
Oh my God!
Where's that picture from?
It looked like West Coast.
I was asking the person who knew the person in the picture.
Oh, my bad.
Oh, damn. Okay, that's from the No Kings March that happened this weekend. Yeah, shout out to Marawi. I know him. That's my friend. Although, as an organization, as a BAP, probably, I'll express the organizational line on the No Kings thing when we get there. But yeah, I mean, that's in DC. That's downtown. Seems like they got lots of people out there. So
what is this whole No Kings thing? I've been working all weekend. I don't know what's going on with this No Kings.
Oh, and do want to be clear that march was led by DC ARPA, so the DC Alliance Against Racist Police Repression. So, yeah.
So any of y'all know what this whole No Kings thing is about?
The Democrats.
Okay. Expand, please, my sister.
So when this first came up and it was the 50-50, what is it, 50501 project, it's all being funded, and it's honestly like, and I know people will be mad at me for saying this, the goal for these marches is to lead people back to the Democratic Party. Now there are people who in conjunction with the fact that these are happening are trying to actually call attention to real things, police violence, Palestine, et cetera, but the main goal of the organization, like the founding organization behind these, is to support the Democratic Party. So people just need to be aware that, these rallies and such, if people are not walking away from them and joining organizations that are actually trying to move power away from the duopoly, like, I mean, I'm glad you went out with your sign and did something, and it's better than, I guess, doing nothing. But in the end, if the end goal is to just lead us all back to the clutches of the Democratic Party, we're going to find that, things will look and feel different, but they won't be very different.
Okay. I was doing another 50th birthday party. I got another 50th birthday party I'm DJing this Saturday. A lot of people turning 50. Oh, man, but it was fun. A bunch of Haitians, too. But I played a bunch of compa. Okay. You know about that music, Renee? You Haitian, ain't you?
No, I'm Jamaican.
That's right.
But I actually grew up in Flatbush, so a lot of my neighbors were Haitian. Because that's just what
Evan, I'm not trying to say they're all alike, all right?
So,
don't do that with your face.
I think it's a genuine.
This is very odd. Yeah.
I would take Renee as Haitian, though. I definitely would I was looking at Renee as Haitian. I can see it.
I mean, I always appreciate you sharing how the world looks through your lens.
No problem.
Say that.
Like I would look at Renee as Haitian, and I would look at Kamalki Franklin as Moroccan.
I just sent you the link, Evan.
Thanks, Kamal. I appreciate that. It would have been precisely 8 minutes
it's too late. It's too late.
Oh, my bad.
You
check. It's right there for you, though.
I get the test, though. You tested me to make sure I can still get here, so I appreciate it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And for some reason in my head now, I'm calling you Bryce, even though that's not your name at all.
I don't know.
And I don't know who Bryce is.
You do look like a Bryce.
I know, for some reason.
Like a Bryce.
It's like Bryce.
Wow.
Bryce, but I had him named Bryce.
Yeah.
Did we just full out rename Evan for no reason?
Right, yeah. Come on, you're not beating the age allegation.
Don't do that, because now you're going to cement it in your head.
I know. It got nothing to do with him at all. For some reason, I was like, what is Bryce's? It's like, it's not Bryce. Is it Bryce?
Renee look Haitian, Kamal look Moroccan, and Evan look like Bryce.
I look Moroccan?
Oh, yeah, I give you Moroccan.
I can pass for all that. I can pass. And I have to go underground. Mm-hmm. I think I'm head to the Middle East.
I could show up in many places. They wouldn't know what I am. But yeah.
I feel like I got contacts now in China, Lebanon, Haiti, Cuba. I can go a lot of places, I think.
Okay.
And blend in?
Don't you think so? I can blend
in. Not in Asia. No.
Not in Asia? I can't do that. You can't do that kind of joke anymore. Okay, never mind. Let's just move on.
Lebanese. I can see Lebanese. Yeah. Anyway, how was your weekend, Kamal?
Another article came out against us. Against CMB? Yeah.
Wow,
There's this right wing thing. I think they're trying to set us up for you know how we got deplatformed. I think there might be a setup to get us D501c3 and all that kind of shit.
Damn.
I know. And I don't know if you could do any, like people always scramble and do what you do about it. I was like, I don't think you do anything about it. I was like, it's just gonna be gone, you know. What you gonna do?
So they're trying to confiscate land and stuff?
I don't know how far would it go. If they take away your status, you don't like if they take away your status, you can no longer receive donations that are tax deductible, and you can no longer not pay taxes on the work that you do in terms of the structure. But it does not mean, but it does not necessarily mean that they get to seize assets. But you never know, depending on how their plan of attack is. Again, I think we're a small fry, but we keep it mentioning by this particular, I don't know what to call it. It's like a stupid news. Basically, it's a newsletter with like really bad writers who like to do research. Though they do research. They did pull out a quote of us calling cops pigs. It's like, is this what a
sure did.
supposed to do?
They quoted the whole tweet.
Oh, you saw it already?
But to be fair, how hard is that quote to find?
I don't know. It's quite easy. There might be.
It's not hard.
I don't think it's the hardest quote to find.
I see when you do a no cop city.
You pick any CMB march and just kind of scroll through and just find
this, pig that.
Swine.
I think it's still a good insult. I think it's a little old, but I think it's still and that's not a bad.
No,
I think it's better than like 5-0 as an insult, don't you? Like,
yeah, much better.
It's got weight to it still.
No, you never know, man. I feel like it doesn't have the sting for them, that it needs.
Yeah. Who wants to be called the pig?
I mean, Kamal, if you had a country, would you fund somebody that was opposed to the way you ran your country?
Fund? No one funds us. Let's be clear.
Well, allow y'all to
get. The question is, would you? Of course. What I mean, isn't that? I actually do believe this. Despite there's some lefties, communist types that don't believe in dissent. There are some. That's not lying. I said it's not. I actually believe in robust conversations, dissent. Of course, I don't believe in anybody like threatening to kill people and the rest of it. Why you got that face on? I do believe in robust. I'm just always right. That's the problem, though. Last words of a famous dictator. I just have to be right. They can say what they want to say. It doesn't mean
last thing before you win that last election, right? Yeah, this is cool.
I mean, the reality is, we supposedly live in a place where that's supposed to happen, right?
Exactly.
Supposedly. So this whole thing is absurd at best. But I am curious, Kamal. Like, would you all? Like, if you lose your status, would you go the LBS route and just continue on not as a nonprofit?
And what is LBS?
Say it again.
What is LBS?
Leaders of a Beautiful Struggle in Baltimore.
Okay.
They have shows on this channel.
Oh, was that Renee trying to be smart?
She was, B. As she's driving. I liked it. She threw.
Wow, I thought it stood for something.
Well, the answer is yes. I always, when people join CMB, our first couple of sentences is, look, this C3 status lets us do certain things, but if we are defined by the C3 status, then we're not a real organization. So the money, if that stuff goes and we're not sticking together, continuing to organize, then it shows that others were right and some of us were wrong. So folks, the vast majority of our members are volunteer. I would say there's less than 5% of the people who are able to get pay or give stipends to, but we resource all our chapters with some resources to make sure they can do their daily work. But again, it's like that's part of the trick bag, right? If organizations that claim to have a radical politic can only survive when they're getting grants and donations, and it's not from and it's so much that people become over dependent on it, and when it's gone, no one sticks around and continue to organize, and that it wasn't real in the first place because people got seduced by the resources. So the resources are good because they allow us to do things that we couldn't do otherwise, to be honest, right? And these days ain't nobody robbing banks. People can take that little fantasy out their head. They're not doing it, right? So there's got to be ways in which we collect resources and money in addition to dues. This allows us to do it for the temporary time being. But again, if it gets stripped, the organization needs to survive, as other organizations have survived. So that's that's just part of the game.
I mean, I knew that was going to be an answer. I just wanted you to say it out loud.
All right. So I guess it's time to get to some what's going on in the world.
Really, I feel like this was short. I haven't felt like I've
Well, when you don't come in on time, it seems like we're.
Pew, pew, pew.
My bad.
But shouldn't I be allowed some grace because I'm getting my kids off to school?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm
Like,
a baby, but I was getting my kid off to school and I managed to get here on time.
Wow.
So.
Wow.
Renee is on fire today, boy. I love it.
You got kids, Evan?
No.
That you know of? That you know of?
No is the answer.
You're a young man. You never know.
I know.
You do? For sure.
No is the
answer.
answer.
For sure.
No is
You are
the answer.
100% sure. Not 99.9. You are 100% sure.
100%.
No, I gotta say you are sounding like someone who is not 100%.
Right.
Me? I just feel like, back in the day, there would be an occasional call. You'd be like, what? What? And then, a week later, it'd be like, no, it wasn't, or blah, blah, blah. But they might be,
Thankfully, I've never had the pleasure. So, we'll have to just learn from
You've
your
never gotten that call?
stellar example, Kamal.
Wait a minute. You've never gotten that call, Evan.
No.
Here, Doc, you gotten that call at least once.
What call?
That maybe I might have missed. You've never gotten that call. Never. You lying.
No.
You're lying. You're lying.
This is me. No, I'm good.
I don't know what's happening.
I know when I did and I didn't. I knew exactly when I was having my kids. What are you talking about?
I don't believe y'all.
Shit.
I don't believe it. Y'all ever gotten that call.
Oh, only you.
Oh,
well, Evan just took himself off screen. Wow.
He just got that call.
He just
got... Let me not have my face up while you're having this conversation. Let y'all just...
All right. Finally, somebody in the chat room got the idea. So slap him,
no one cares about.
Enough of y'all jibber jabber, as my boy Mr. T would say. Mr.
True.
He was a legend.
Oh no.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break right here at no other than the Remix Morning Show. Let's go. Damn it. I'm a bad man. All right, what's good, everybody? Welcome out. Thank you all for tuning in to the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor, and hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Go to patreon.com, become a member over there, get footage that's rare. And where can you go to donate? Hey, I'll tell you, blkliberationmedia.org. Go ahead and pull out your phone if you're not looking at it right now at the show, and you can just get that QR code and bam, smash, flash, you got it. Boom, bash, you are donating. All right. What was I going to talk about? Oh, the weather. Okay, the weather report. Let's get to it. ATL, we got a high today of 78 degrees. Next, let's take you to DC, where they have a high of 73 degrees. Chicago, only 58. It's starting to get a little breezy out here, y'all, especially last night. I was like, damn, like my man Fabulous. Houston, they got a high of 88 degrees, nice and warm. LA, 74. Let's take you down to David, Panama. Never heard of this place, but it's in Panama. They got a high of 85 degrees. And last but not least, Dakar, Senegal. All right, we got a high of 88 degrees, which is pretty warm there. Not too hot, but I'll tell you what, who got pretty hot. Damn, did I not get the... Oh, I ain't get it on here yet. So what I did want to tell you about who did get what was kind of hot was Atlanta's airport today. This morning it was a little wild. Let me take you and show you a picture of a guy who goes by the name of, what's this dude's name? Okay, pretty much a man came to Atlanta airport with an AR-15 coming to shoot up the terminal here in Atlanta this morning, and they caught him. Imagine that. They actually did their job. So yeah, came up there to the Delta side and was ready to come and shoot up the place. He got caught by, guess what, going to social media and letting everybody know what he was doing. I swear, I don't understand these people, man. Big bunch of, well, I'm glad he did that. But yeah, so the guy got caught, and pretty much TSA at the same time was not showing up to work because they wasn't getting their money. So they was somewhat striking. And so it was crazy at the airport this weekend. I would suggest not to come to Atlanta. All right, that's it. Let's go ahead and bring her back because I cannot pull up the picture quick enough to show you this guy. He looks like a MAGA guy, but this dude right here, yeah, you could tell. He was ready to get busy. All right. And his name, it don't even matter because he's in jail now. All right, let's get back to it right here on the Remix Morning Show.
And if she's persistent,
Yeah. Just want to highlight Comrade Kai. Hold on a second. Can I do this? Yeah. They didn't do anything. The family called and reported. Police don't prevent anything. So just want to at least correct that element.
You brought that up on the screen for that? Thanks, Kai.
He can't take initiative and bring something up on screen. Yeah, wait for your permission.
You gave me
power. You don't like it because it's likely.
No, Renee gave you the power.
It's too late. Can't take it back now.
It's too late. It's done now. It's done.
Now he can just pull up all his comrades on the screen and talk about it. Thanks. Thanks, Renee.
Oh wait, he's in it. Like he's got full blown power.
That's wow. Renee's just handing it out.
No,
wow,
it's not.
Renee.
Okay, first of all,
Renee.
Like cooties. She's just handing it out like cooties. I swear.
First of all, it is not full power. There is secondary access to the StreamYard that allows you to do things in stream, but not control anything in the actual StreamYard. So y'all can stop because that was the whole point. And I know Kamal with his hiring people on the spot.
Oh yeah, I got
on air ain't talking shit right now.
I got two new people.
Oh shit! What show? They gonna have their own show?
Nah. For the morning remix show.
Oh, you bugging? It's already
he's
too
definitely
many.
bugging, and especially when Kamal don't show up in meetings that he confirms he's.
We did have that meeting.
I didn't know. No, we didn't have no meeting because were you there?
Oh,
no. And you don't read no emails.
Look at Ear Doctor. Did he show?
Oh. But Ear Doctor didn't confirm. You actually had the audacity to confirm and then not show up.
I meant to show.
Oh, get him, Renee. Get him.
I think I meant to show up.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what happened here in Atlanta. TSA also, a bunch of people didn't show up to work because they didn't get paid. So it had to be crazy. That
they're not showing up because it's the government shutdown, so they're not getting paid. So
that's what it is. I mean, I figured other people was getting paid, so they not getting paid though.
Yeah, that's TSA. They are government employees. They are not getting paid right now.
Wow. So that all these government employees aren't getting paid right now.
You don't know what a government shutdown is?
Bruh, I never worked for the government.
So I don't read a newspaper, man. Don't act like it's all about I don't work for the government either.
But what I'm saying is I don't know that
no, if you don't work for the government, if you work for the government at this time, the government shutdown is that most except for so-called essential employees receive resources, but the vast majority of the federal workforce right now is not getting paid. There might be some who are getting paid, if I'm not mistaken. Everybody who is not getting paid, this is something that Trump is threatening to do, but everybody who's not getting paid, part of the law is that after the shutdown officially ends, they're all supposed to get back pay, but Trump is threatening to not back pay. It is my understanding, I think we talked a little bit about this, and I still don't have complete clarity. Somebody asked this in the chat. I think the military, I don't think the soldiers are getting paid right now. I think they also.
Trump claimed that they were going to, but I don't know if they.
I don't think they passed anything. There's no resolution passed. So I don't think they're getting paid either. That's why I think we saw them on bread lines a couple of weeks ago, food lines and stuff like that. So they're not getting paid.
Wow. I gotta go see if they're gonna pick up my garbage today then. So let me go check.
Federal employees, my nigga. federal.
Also, the note is
Lord
that
have
like
mercy.
theoretically they would be getting paid when they come back, but Trump is also firing people while the
Mhm.
government shut down. So there maybe no job for them to come back to. So that's another element.
Yeah. No, he's getting it. He's getting it all. I think he's the Board of Education, or not the Board of Education, the Department of Education is continually getting, which I'm hoping, the only thing I did hear was that they're going to try to sell the student loans to private entities. So I'm hoping that this, part of this means the student loans going to be delayed. I think we all can cheer for that. And I think maybe, and I think they're supposed to be somewhat gutting the IRS. Ain't nobody gonna be mad at that. So,
And what about welfare? I heard they looking at taking that away too.
they're taking it back. Yeah, they're going to be take public assistance is getting pulled back, except for, of course, if you're a corporation or you're a farmer. Those folks are protected constituencies, so they're going to receive some of their resources. Just dips. Not even a comment. Just dips. Somebody must be knocking on this door. Yo, Remix Morning Show. Good morning. I'm here with my man Evan, not Bryce, of course. Renee, it's me, Kamal Franklin, here with some morning news for you, morning conversations, even things that you don't want to hear. We'll talk about that anyway. So thank y'all for joining us. If you guys want to make a donation, please go to blkliberationmedia.org, blkliberationmedia.org. Remember, we are demonetized. We're not receiving any resources. Y'all used to donate so generously when we were on YouTube and we were monetized. There would always be a little bit of resources popping up for us. These days, y'all withholding a little bit. It's like y'all are on furlough. You know what I'm saying? It's like all of y'all are on furlough or something like that, because y'all are not giving up them resources the way you used to. Still love y'all somewhat. I know some of y'all got real jobs up in the chat. I might call y'all out by name. But y'all have not been giving away y'all used to. Y'all should just remember that. Just remember that. Not giving the way you used to. But you can go to blkliberation.org, as long as that's the right website, and make it up.
It's not. You left the whole word out.
blkliberationmedia.org. I'm glad it comes across the screen.
This is why we're not getting any donations.
I'm not going to do the whole thing again. Yeah, we here. Who's got some news stories that y'all want to run? Anybody got something for us? Because I know that. So we usually have a run sheet, but I don't think we have any new stories up there. The person who does that is like on vacation for like a month and a half or something. So we have to come up with our own stories, I guess, today.
Oh no, we have to come prepared.
We have to come prepared. We have to come like we work here. Anybody got any stories they want to start off with?
Well, we started talking about the No Kings protest. I don't know if you have thoughts about that, Kamal, that you want to share.
I do, and I do have something I can pull up. I guess a couple of things real quick. So some people who've offered some well-deserved critique of what's happening there. So here we have. I'm not even listening to it. So here it says, nobody more useless than a white American liberal. Fascists are literally destroying your country and the rest of the world, and you're dancing and joking about brunch. Demonstrators dancing at No Kings protest in Chicago. So even though I think there was great turnout across the country, this was a March demonstration which was paid for by some of the large liberal institutions, MoveOn.com, Democratic Party affiliated organizations. Still, there were some places like in Chicago. I think again, I want to give compliments to the mayor of Chicago, who gave a really good speech. But a lot of this is kind of like snatching away or taking or redirecting a lot of ire and energy. I saw fights about people having Palestinian flags, trying to get people to pull down their Palestinian flags. So the messages they're trying to control the messages. They're not trying to politicize people beyond a certain part of it. And basically, this is an attempt to get people to come out and vote for the Democratic Party. That's what it feels like to me. And that's what it feels like what's brought and paid for, like an overwhelming amount of American flags. So, those things were handed out. A lot of Democratic politicians speaking. So this seems to be some brought and paid for marches and demonstrations, which are meant to capture some of the fury, but also meant to redirect that fury back into voting for Democrats. That's how I saw it.
I love when Kamal comes on and just confirms me is correct. I'm for it. I can live with that. I'm about that.
It's because he was listening and he was like, I gotta stay on point. I gotta stay on message when I get on there.
As opposed to going and joining, you thought I might be out there speaking for the Democrats.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
So what did y'all say about it? What did y'all think about it?
I literally said exactly what you said, so that works for me. But I'm curious. So I saw Johnson's clip this morning about the general strike and such, which, it's a acceptable message. But, this always brings me back to like how useful is a message in a space that is not really built for that message. Like, how many people who listened to that talk, his speech, thought, let's go organize an actual general strike? Or did people just, clap and cheer, and then they went and bought their Starbucks and went home? Because that's always my thing. Like, if we're not actually going to be able to organize toward something real, then what are we doing? But then at the same time, you have, what was it, they estimated at like 7 million people that came out. So I also think at the same time, I guess if you're going to go anywhere to try and recruit people, you would start with the 7 million people who are unhappy in the current situation to see, can you guide any of them towards some level of organizing that's actually useful?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think you for those who think they can move people further left or politicize people or get them to take some other direct action, I'm not mad at that. I think somebody brought this up in the chat. I mean, but general strikes take work. Like, you cannot just declare it and make it happen, right? So I think if there's going to have to be, I'm not saying these forces are going to do this, because these forces are not built to do this, right? Excuse me. I think for the most part, these forces are, they don't want capitalism to fall on its face completely. So they're not going to get into the habit of calling general strikes, particularly the folks behind it. So I think if there's going to be something, it's going to come from other forces, but those forces will have to, you have to recruit the workers or the places where you're saying the general strike should take place. You have to convince them that they shouldn't go into work. You have to sometimes have a strike fund to help support them. You have to sometimes get involved with the unions, depending on how you're doing it. So calling just for a general strike doesn't necessarily obviously mean much, except it puts the idea out there and maybe somebody will pick up the banner. But I agree. I don't think that these folks are interested in going that far. At least most of them are not. There might be a couple of exceptions to that. But we shall see. I thought the other interesting thing was in the reaction by the Republicans. And so people like Trump, who put up a fake AI video of himself driving a jet and defecating on different crowds of people who attended these marches. I mean, it shows you the level of craziness that this country has reached. Just another way of showing that to you. But, again, that the reaction of Republicans are like, those aren't our people anyway. And they don't give a damn, right? They're continually showing you they don't care, and they'll do anything. At this stage, they feel unimpeded to try to do almost anything that they want to do. And so I think that's also what's happening. Hey, Kim Brown.
What's up, Kim?
Good morning. I didn't know y'all was throwing it.
I'm gonna pull. I think the ear doctor in the background must have pressed a button.
Oh, of course he did. Good morning, all. How's everybody doing?
We're good.
We're discussing 3 I was going to say Three Kings. We
Three
discussed
Kings.
no down with the king, no kings march.
Martin Luther King March. Yes. I went to the local one, the one around the corner,
How did you find it?
Yeah, how was it?
online. It was sparse, but it was one of the smaller ones this was in Mount Rainier, Evan. You might know the area, Rhode Island and Eastern Avenue roundabouts. There's a handful of well-meaning whites out there waving signs and shit. Was there supposed to be something more? Did y'all want more?
No. Your on the ground perspective is helpful, I think
Oh, on the ground. Yes, that was exactly what I was doing. I was on the ground, Evan.
No, I was just curious. I guess we're wrapping up the story. We were just trying to see how people had perspectives of the actual march. I think we mostly concluded or agreed that it was a mostly Democratic Party funded and or affiliated funded march to cipher off probably some real anger, but not enough anger to do anything militant or call a general strike about. I think most of those folks did their march and then went back to having brunch or doing whatever they had to do for the rest of their day or whatever.
That's exactly what we saw downtown. So after we left Mount Rainier, we did go to DC to see what was actually popping. And, it was a bunch of people in costumes with their signs just walking around. I mean, it was a mobilization effort, right? When I went live from the Mount Rainier protest, Ricky Ryan was in the chat and she said something like, are they organizing? And the answer was no. they were not organizing. They showed up, to your point, waved a sign and went back to brunch and completed the rest of their Saturday errands. So I don't, it's a mobilization effort, but what does it transcend into? Does it go beyond? Okay, wait for the next No Kings protest. What happens in between then?
And
Yeah.
that's the real issue, right? Like, people are out there because they're angry, but what are they angry about? They're not mad at genocide, right? they're not mad about, name it, right? They're not mad about wars. They're not mad about dropping bombs on people. They're not mad about, blowing fishermen out of the water. Like, they're not mad at any of that. They're mad because their government job might be in danger. Right? They're mad because their 401ks have severely reduced in the past however many months because of what's happening in the fake stock market. Like, they're not mad. They're mad about the American Care Act, but they're not mad that everybody can't get medical care.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like...
Yeah, I would even say they're not even mad about people losing their jobs. I think they're mad about the craziness of Trump.
Right.
They're mad about the possibility.
No, I mean, they're mad about the possibility that they might lose their own government job.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, it's wild. It's wild.
Yeah, I mean, I think I saw some videos. I think I mentioned some white woman attacking some white dude who had a Palestinian flag. So this is not about that. This is about American democracy.
Oh, wow.
So you're right. Like, they're not mad about anything.
It's about America.
Mm-hmm.
But America is why you have to wave the Palestinian flag if we even want to divert to calling this place America. Because
and isn't that so interesting that people can't even make the connections? Like, they can't even on their own. Again, I take it that people are so propagandized that they can't even make simple connections between your government. At least either they can't or they desire not to, or their head is buried in the sand. That you don't understand that your country is literally supplying weapons, political cover, media cover, to murder 70, 80, up to or maybe over 100,000 people. That your country is literally killing people at will in off the coast of Venezuela just because it can. That's not what you're right. That they're not worried about that at all, but they're worried about the facade of this makes us look bad. Well, can't we just go back to normal? It's like that kind of thing. Can't they just have some normalcy without somebody who seems to be crazy running things? Kind of. I mean, that's what it feels like these folks are upset about that, but they couldn't describe any real policy or anything that's happening in the world that really matters, that the United States is literally murdering people. That part, shrug of the shoulder, you know.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And saw so many kind of signals. The American flags are a big one, right? Like the preponderance of American flags at that protest are a big sign. I also saw that interaction between that white woman and the dude who was holding up the Palestinian flag. You know, saying like that, you know, this is not about that, right? You're at the wrong march, or you're, you know, something like that. Pretty sure she assaulted somebody too on video. So, you know, neither here nor there. Also saw people, you know, with kind of like Kamala Harris, like number 47, as if, you know, she were president, right? Like, and it's all kind of going back to this idea, right, that the fundamental issue is Trump, right? Not US imperialism, not settler colonialism or neocolonialism, right? Not genocide, of course. And it doesn't mean that they're not, you know, people there trying to, you know, based on their own political ideology, trying to push people to the left. I know there were, right? Like, you know, so that's not, you know, it's clear that there's a heterogeneous character, right? But the broad character of the rally is absolutely this kind of pro-American, you know, bend to it, right? As you said, Kamau, and as Renee said before, you're right, driving people back to the Democratic Party. And just one thing about, you know, Mayor Brandon Johnson, right? Like, I think, you know, I did not hear the comments, but I appreciate those points. And I think to the extent that we engage with this electoral system and can get wins out of it, right? I'd like to see a mayor who would call for a general strike and keep the cops from breaking it up, right? So if he's prepared to do that, cool. You know what I mean? Like, I'm all for it, right? And that would be vindicating for people who, for the movements that are able to get him in office, right? If he does not do that, if he does not exert that power, then I think that produces a different question as to what is the utility of having even a people's mayor within this wider capitalist imperialist kind of situation. So yeah, I mean,
I missed his comments. What did Brandon Johnson say?
we have like the specific comments, or if we want to play a video.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if we have that.
You know, I could find a video, but basically he called for a general strike. He made, again, some strong statements against Trump, you know, fighting back, that kind of thing. And again, he's been, in my opinion, you know, at the very least, what you would want somebody to do as an elected official who comes out of labor, right? Who comes out of certain progressive areas in Chicago. There's a lot of folks who have spoken to me about, like, there was a lot of disappointment about him when he first got into office, because he put forth a platform that was extremely progressive, that got people excited, got unions excited, got working class people excited. And then when he got into office, what he did was keep around people who were part of Ron Emanuel's administration, other Daley's administration. So he kept people around who were going to do the actual opposite. They were not going to enact any progressive legislation, and his base began to abandon him. And some of what's happening right now apparently is helping him win back some of that base, because his polling numbers are real low, not just those who were always against him, but even the people who felt like in his short term in office, he was not fulfilling his promise. So this could be seen as a couple of ways. One, he's stepping up and trying to fulfill them. And two, this also could be useful for somebody who was losing their progressive base, but then who can shout and say that they're against Trump, right? So time will tell, but at least rhetorically speaking, I think there's a lot of things that he's doing that can be, like, you know, lifted up at least as possibly, again, the way that you would want some mayor. Certainly the Atlanta mayor, the black mayor in Atlanta, would never even utter any of those words or make any fiery statements against Trump. Would not sort of like shoot back against Trump. At one point, Trump called for him to be arrested. And I think he wrote, you know, in a tweet back or whatever like that, this isn't the first time Trump has called for the illegal arrest of a black man, kind of thing. So I think he's shooting back a little bit here and there.
I feel like that's all he can do, though, right? Because even in spite his executive order directing Chicago police not to assist ICE in immigration activities, they're doing exactly that, right? Even to their own detriment, that Chicago police have been tear gassed by so-called ICE officers, and yet there they stand, right next to them when it's time to kidnap and terrorize the community. And the same thing with JB Pritzker, Democrat governor, talks real tough to Trump. It was Illinois state troopers out there brutalizing people at the Broadview ICE detention facility. Whose direction do the state troopers, respond to? So it's like, I hear you, tough talking Democratic leaders, but what power do you really have, or are you, trying to fake us out with your rhetoric and yet still do the police state thing right next to Trump, just, decrying him the whole time? But what are you doing differently? Are you mobilizing your law enforcement agencies to not participate? And are they participating anyway? So what does that say?
Yeah. And I think it's difficult because, like, broadly speaking, right, the bar is so low, right? Like, the bar is in hell. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you can do a little bit better than that, right? Or you can speak to a general strike, or let me not say that, right? Like, or some of the more positive things that Mayor Johnson is doing, right? Comparatively, right? Like, I mean, look what we have, right? You have reactionaries, the Black men's leadership class across the board. You have people like Zoran who cannot run to the right fast enough. You know what I mean? Even after winning a Democratic primary. So I think that wider context also is what helps, somebody like this stand out, rightfully so.
So let me play a little clip of what he said at the rally. Here, this is breakthrough news. It says Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson calls for a general strike against the tyranny of Trump.
If my ancestors as slaves can lead the greatest general strike in the history of this country, taking it to the ultra-rich and big corporations, we can do the same today. I'm calling on Black people, white people, brown people, Asian people, immigrants, gay people from around this country to stand up against tyranny and to bring a clear message to the ultra-rich and big corporations. We are going to make them pay their fair share in taxes to fund our schools, to fund jobs, to fund healthcare, to fund transportation. Democracy will live on because of this generation. Are you ready to take it to the courts and to the streets?
So there was Brandon Johnson.
Sounds good. Sounds great. Tell the Chicago police to stop assisting ICE for immigration activities, please and thank you.
And I also wanted defenders, Common Cause, Common Defense. So most of these groups would be considered very liberal, and Citizens United, Demlist, Demcast, Defending Rights and Resist. Most of these groups are what we would consider liberal to progressive groups, some of them, but liberal as in most of them take serious the call for pushing for more Democrats in office as the overwhelming strategy of choice, right? You have National Action Network, MoveOn.com, Moms Rising Together. So these are groups who are part of the ecosystem. Usually they're going to be there's a couple of outliers, but most of these groups are part of the ecosystem of what the Democratic Party actually relies upon when they are when there are times for elections, in terms of who's bringing out people to the polls. So a lot of these groups here are the groups that they rely upon in terms of getting out the vote. Again, in terms of the ecosystem of how C3 and C4 work happens, they'll get money from either individual donors or big foundations. They do get out the vote stuff. Not only beforehand, they do policy campaigns beforehand, all towards driving people to the polls on election day. So that's what most of those groups were. Again, there were outliers. There were different groups there that may not fit into that, but the overwhelming majority are those type of organizations. And again, those type of organizations are going to demand a tightly controlled message, right? And they are the ones who are supplying most of the signs. They're supplying the American flags, and they're the ones who are going to say the most important election in your lifetime is the midterm election. That's the next most important. And the next election after that is the president election, and the next election after that is the next midterm election. So every election is the most important election of your lifetime, and that's their base strategy. And so when people like Brandon Johnson or others call for something outside of that, know that those are not, they're generally messages that these groups who call for the march generally endorse or generally are striving for.
Yeah. And I think, to your point, Kamal, like there is a bit of a variety, right, in those organizations. But I think that's where we get in trouble, right? Like if, from the perspective of BAP, from the perspective of PACA, right, we would understand that if we were going to engage in anything, we would need to do that from a place of like ideological unity, right? And from that place of ideological unity, right, or even political unity, we can then make actions based off of that, right? There are other organizations with a different theory, right? A theory that, through action, they can radicalize people and move them to their ideological political point, right? Maybe they have something right, but that would not be my assessment, right? And that's not the assessment of the organizations I'm a part of, right? And I think that we can see the effect of that, right? Because you're entering a space, right, where your message is unequivocally drowned out, right? There are organizations, right, that were participating that were anti-genocide, right, or anti-imperialist, right? Their message is going to be drowned out, right, by the American flags, by people wishing that it was Kamala Harris's regime and not Donald Trump's.
No, I think he faded a little bit. But just to pick up on that sentiment, yeah, the alternative messages won't be strong because the other, like you said, like they'll be drowned out by those mainstream messages of what we should be doing, which are going to be mostly about how we vote, right? How we vote out this regime. And this regime, again, is preparing for, through the courts, through executive orders, through the use of the military, through the use of the National Guard, they're preparing for one, to make sure that like whatever level of bourgeois democracy gets eroded and destroyed. And so as you see through the potential eroding of the Voting Rights Act, right, the last part of the Voting Rights Act, which will allow these southern states to completely wipe off the map. Again, as we spoke about last week, these districts, which may not have served a huge purpose for Black people, but these districts which are nominally Democrat, which would swing who controls the House. So they're looking to completely control the House of Representatives, and in this way, then they can push through their agenda even more, and at a faster clip, and through the force of law. So not just through the courts and through executive actions, but through actually passing law that goes into effect. So part of this is going to be, part of this is that these rallies that are happening. Again, it's a good number to have that many people out. But if you're not talking about doing more than just assuming people are going to be able to go to the polls to reverse this, then you obviously don't see what's really happening, or you just have some Alice in Wonderland thinking about how strong so-called American democracy is, because they're actually setting this up so that whatever is left of a vote does not even matter, particularly in terms of winning a majority, because they would have secured, as in any dictatorship would, right? They're going to secure a majority, so it doesn't matter who you vote for. They'll just cut the lines up, so it doesn't make any difference, because the population that supports them will have the majority of districts and a majority of the ability to bring out people to vote.
Here's a thought. We're on day 20 of the government shutdown. What about the possibility that the government just never reopens?
I think that's a possible. I don't know if I think it's going to never reopen, but I agree with you that, again, within the Republican larger scheme of things, this is not a terrible thing for them. They weren't relying on their vote of government workers for their constituency anyway. They're beginning to privatize things, as in the thing I spoke about earlier. They're talking about selling student loans to private companies so that the federal government no longer deals with that. They'll just continually look to privatize things, and they won't have a big the federal government to do what they want to do, just to hand out block grants or to hand out resources to people who are part of the of private companies to run all of this. And it won't be anything left of the federal government except for the military, except for federal agencies that have to do with law enforcement and investigation. But most of it will be an opportunity from the dole money that they get through taxes to dole it back out to private corporations.
And to cut, did you guys already talk about the letters that SNAP recipients are receiving pertaining to their November benefits?
No. I'll find a story about it if you want to start talking about it.
Well,
Wait,
yeah.
go
Go ahead, Renee.
Sorry, real quick, just because when we switch to this, I don't want to switch back to this. The other thing that's happening voting wise is the states where the governors and mayors elections are happening this year. So in New Jersey in particular, it has turned into a real, I mean, it's just a shit show, but in general. But so we got, Mikey Military on one side and Jack Shitterelli on the other side, and they're both terrible. And they've been the focus. And now, like, Obama has picked a side and Trump has picked a side. And now we're doing this back and forth. And this is what's about to happen in New Jersey. I just wanted to point that out real quick.
So is Obama to headline Get Out the Vote rally with Cheryl in Newark? Really quickly, basically it says Obama, President Obama, I think this is a statement from the campaign. President Obama reminds us that we can accomplish what we leaders are unafraid to take on big challenges to deliver. He led historic efforts to ensure millions of Americans and lower health care costs. The contrast couldn't be clearer. Jack Satterley is supporting Trump's attack on New Jersey, from terminating the Gateway Tunnel project to kicking hundreds of thousands of New Jerseyans off of their health care. I am so grateful to have Obama support and endorsement in this race as we harness our momentum to mobilize New Jerseyans to vote on or before November 4th, says Mike Sherrill. So they're pulling out the big guns.
It's a close race, Renee. Obviously, if they got to dust Obama off to come out there and rally the folks.
Yeah, it's pretty close. And the issue at hand really is, you have two cheeks of the same ass. So the Green Party has a write-in candidate that's running, Lily Benavides, but you have to write her in because the Democrats in Morris County got us booted off the ballot, even though we had enough signatures. So there's all of that going on. There's also another independent candidate running. There's also somebody from the Libertarian Libertarian Party running. But if you follow any of the media, it's only Mikey Sherrill and Jack Citarelli. Sorry, I keep calling him Citarelli. I can never get his name right when they say it. So it's just, but the whole situation, but this is everywhere, is that now, and this is these no kings. What I saw in New Jersey was a lot of people with the Mikey Sherrill signs, and we got to get Mikey Sherrill back in, and she's no better. She's no better in in the extended scheme of things. She wants to vote in having the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism voted into law and written into the books in the state of New Jersey. She is fully in support of ICE and police. She, all of the things that would make anybody else problematic. It's just bizarre to me that they're literally saying some of the same things, but people will still say, no, it has to be Mikey Sherrill because she's going to be against Trump. And I'm like, if she says she's about Trump, but she's supporting all the things that Trump supports, I'm not really sure, where's this thing? What are we doing right now? So, but she's brutal. She's terrible. She's got her Army helicopter as part of her, her name logo design thing for her governor's race. It's just, the whole thing is out.
You guys notice that the Democrats keep putting their eggs in the I'm a former veteran and blah, 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 blah. The chick who's running for governor 2 chicks for running for governor, maybe 3 for all I know, but a Republican and Democratic candidate for governor in Virginia are both women. The white woman, the Democratic nominee, Abigail Spanberger, I'm a former CIA analyst. I said, bitch, that is disqualifying. Oh, so you plan coups. Oh, go on. What else is your experience? But no, the black Democrat, rather the black nominee, Republican Winsome Earl Sears, this lady is a nut. And the fact Trump hasn't endorsed her, which I find hilarious.
And isn't what they've been doing the last couple of cycles, the Democrats? That when you look at the Democratic Party, when they have their conventions, it is filled with military veterans, it is filled with cops, it is filled with American flags. They look more right-wing than Republicans do because they are filled up with every sort of insignia or symbol of so-called American patriotism, and trying to, again, obviously what they're trying to do is move towards or appeal to what they consider to be people who would not normally vote for Trump, right? So they're not moving, and again, they stomp out their left and their progressive base to the point of getting them kicked out of office or running candidates against them, not allowing certain people to speak at the convention because they don't want to accept the Israelis. So not even allowing a Palestinian to speak, even one that was going to say things like they were going to endorse Kamala Harris, right? Even somebody who was going to endorse them, they were not allowed to speak because of the optics that might upset white people. So they are truly like in their public persona and stances continually pushing right because they think they can get those votes also.
Who's the guy in Maine? Is he running for governor or Senate? The white man who's a veteran.
I think that's Senate. That's the one. He's always doing his commercials and stuff in his like regular clothes. He's doing the
yes. The lefty whites are very inspired. They love him. Like it's giving Tim Walz last year. I'm like, oh, the whites have found another person, formerly of the military, who they want to root for. It's like, okay, cool.
Well, speaking to somebody who we always root for,
always.
You know,
I would hope so.
Well,
ain't it Team Us?
It is.
That's right there. See how you got to bring it back to people.
Yeah, true that. True. It is Team Us.
Boy.
Yeah. Although once again, though, your garbage pickup has nothing to do with federal workers, just to let you know.
Oh, okay. Thanks. But I would. So they're not essential. I would think.
Yes.
They're not government employees. They're not federal government employees. They're not federal government employees. Go ahead, just do your break.
I mean, and I'm like, what is really like the end goal here? So you got people that's used to working for the government, losing their jobs. They never work. A lot of them probably never had a job doing their own thing. And then you got people that's not able to get benefits, not able to get welfare. I mean, what's the end goal here? To have us have a race war fighting against each other for capital? Is this like the parable of the sower, Octavia Butler's book, just coming to life? What's going on?
Hunger Games. Hunger Games. Yeah, buddy.
I mean, they want profit and no workers. That's what they want, right?
It will be a smaller, whiter federal government force. You know, because again, when you look at the discrepancies, most of the people being laid off in greater numbers are overwhelmingly Black people and overwhelmingly Black women. And so again, that thing that Black folks thought would move them towards the middle class because the private industries were not hiring Black folks at, let's say, equatable numbers, even that avenue is being shut off, right? And again, that's towards their white constituencies. So you're going to have a whiter federal government. It's not like white people aren't also getting laid off, but you're going to have a whiter federal government, but you're going to have a disproportionately amount of Black folks, particularly Black women, who have been laid off and will continue to get laid off because this is not the constituency that they give a damn about. And people are going to have to, under Trump world, know their place. And unless we're organized in a lot of different ways, people don't, again, I don't think people have always sort of acknowledged what's happening. This is going to have a huge impact in terms of a greater sort of recession than the larger Black community is always facing. But this is going to be a recessionary period. When you look at the job numbers in terms of unemployment, Black versus white, those numbers continue to discrepancy, which has always been large, is continuing to widen. So there is going to be a way in which this is impacting our community, not only through obviously the continued use of the police, but sort of economically speaking, like this is going to impact our community in a lot of ways. And we're not prepared because we refuse to get prepared because we think the Democratic Party is going to save us. And so that's something that we also have to start thinking about or looking at or talking about.
Okay. Our manifesto said, which Octavia Butler book, Parable of the Sower? All right. I mean, y'all are bringing the heat. We doing it up, talking about the King Down with the Kings joint. Tomorrow we'll be dealing with the police state with ICE going all over the place. Thursday we'll be here looking at different talking about different people that play different roles. How good did they play and who else should be played a role? And and then after that you can check out Tina Marie, Classical Breakdown. We'll be doing classical breakdown on her. And then Friday, let's go.
When we're doing nothing.
I think I picked this one right here. Is like, yo, we still got to win regardless of where we at and keep rooted and grounded in our blackness. All right. Okay. Look, I ain't getting no problems with nobody's face. Okay. Thumbnails work this week.
Alone. I'm just going to leave it alone. I love it when you try.
Try. I don't try. I do, my G. All right. Let's get to it right here on the Remix Morning Show. Let's go. Try. Like I try. Kind of buzz. All right. It's time for a remix on the remix. Y'all ready? Let's go. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Go to patreon.com, become a member over there and get footage. That's
Watch
rare.
me.
All right?
Watch me.
Watch me. Get busy.
I got it.
Remix on the
Watch
remix.
me. I got it. Hey! I got something that makes me want to shout. I got something that tells me what it's all about. I got soul, and I'm super bad. I got soul, and I'm super bad. I got a move that tells me what to do. Sometimes I feel I got a move that tells me what to do. Sometimes I feel so nice, I want to try myself a few. I got soul, and I'm super bad.
All right, let me take you to a time and place. Let me take you back to 1971 with the man called James Brown. Name of that song is Super Bad, single he put out back then. Mixed with a little bit of 2002. We talk about the artist Blue Six. Name of the album is Beautiful Tomorrow. Name of that song is Music and Wine. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Go to patreon.com, become a member over there, get footage that's rare, donate where at blkliberationmedia.org, as you see at the bottom of the screen. And tell a friend is on again. Yes, that's what we do every week, giving it to you 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on Black Liberation Media. All right, with that said, let's get back. I don't know if I gave them enough time to have a bathroom break, but we'll just deal with the people that's here. The younger ones with the good bladders. All right, let's do it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. We made it.
They made it back.
You said I made it?
Yeah, you made it back.
I was worried.
Yeah, for real. So, yeah, that's what it is. Little mix there. And I don't know what else I was gonna say, but it's good to see y'all.
That's it? And you don't know what else you're going to say?
I forgot. I was gonna say some other stuff that was going on in the world, but I forgot about it.
And you decided to share that on air that you forgot about it.
I just be talking.
You know, the part of this, you know, you're supposed to the filler. You're not supposed to tell us that you lost your thought on the filler. You're supposed to provide the filler.
I have a question.
I hate him.
I have a question.
I got soul. Some bad.
No, I mean, I guess my question is for us, right, as radicals, right, in our organizations that we're part of, but it is interesting that, right, it's clear that like economic conditions, political conditions, geopolitical conditions are worsening, are deteriorating, right? And I think that, as someone who does watch the other shows on this channel, right, whenever Dwayne Monroe comes up on, where is he? I guess it was, maybe he was just with Jared the last time I saw him. But like he often has, incredible insights, particularly on AI and cryptocurrency. And I think what he points out around this like AI bubble is really telling, right? Like that the majority of the increase in GDP for this country, right, is due to AI, right? This thing, right, which is solely reliant on data centers, which are reliant on massive amounts of energy consumption and water consumption, right? And there's like a housing bubble, right, that people have been talking about for quite a while, right? So like we're clearly on this kind of precipice of this very, very bad economic situation, right? And we're dealing with these mass mobilizations that clearly have this pro-American character to them, right? That people are kind of globbing onto because they genuinely feel that, right, if we just got Kamala Harris in office, right, or if we can get a Democrat in office next time, then all of our issues will be taken care of, right? And I think, it makes me wonder, what argument, right, what we should be doing, right, how we should be responding, given that I think, our analysis is correct, right? And I think with each passing day, with each passing crisis, like we see how correct our analysis actually is, but people, for whatever reason, are not receptive to it, either because they're getting paid to not be receptive to it, or because more than likely, right, that they're not exposed to those arguments and don't see it. So that's my question.
Anybody have any more insight about the crypto bubble? Wasn't there the crypto markets took a major hit over the past several days? A lot of coins lost a good chunk of their value. I think Bitcoin was hit especially hard. Nobody knows. Okay, no worries.
I'm not well versed. I do know somebody unalived themselves in relation to that.
Oh,
right?
shit.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure. I mean, it might have been Dwayne Monroe talking about that, but yeah, I mean, it's highly volatile, right? And you have people within that industry that are trying very hard to get governments to kind of like back them up, right? After they've been making arguments their entire career that this is all about getting away from government or getting away from these central systems. So, I mean, it's just very clear that that's not the solution, right?
When I heard about the crypto market taking a major hit, two things came to mind. I thought about all the young Black men in particular who have put away all their little extra shillings into crypto and became crypto bros. And really, Black people as a whole, we don't have money to invest and lose, right? The way that some other folks may be able to, sustain a $5,000 loss, right? That Black folks, that hits way different. Okay, when we lose $5K at a minimum. But also I thought about Kamala Harris's platform to reach out to young Black men and how heavy crypto was embedded in that. And it's like, so, all right, y'all, everyone's on the scam to deprive Black folks from their money somehow, some way. And crypto is just the latest iteration of that. And then I thought about the young Black men, well, not just young Black men, obviously, but younger Black people who invest in crypto as a way of trying to level the economic playing field, but the way they kind of blame their elders and older generations. Well, my parents and grandparents, they weren't financially literate and they don't know how the stock market works and they don't know how this works and that's why we don't have nothing. No, look at America in the 21st century coming to take your money in the same way that it came and took your parents' money, your grandparents' money, and your great-grandparents' money. You're not special, beloved.
I feel like we're so susceptible. I mean, I think that's part of the issue is that we're so susceptible to these larger arguments. Again, that we are poor, we are in the conditions we are because of our own fault and because we don't use the tools that others have used to get rich. And then when you do any evaluation, the whole evaluation of it will go out the window because this is usually a tool of the 1% to generate resources for themselves. And then they employ other people to give other people the ability to go out and sell that message. And so that message gets sold by people who then make their living telling all the rest of us that if you don't do this, if you don't buy this, and then the way it's particularly where it's sold to our community is that it's not even just an idea of investment. It becomes an idea of this is how we're going to save our people. This is the thing that's going to free us. And so it's not only a way in which they're scamming us for money, but they're pulling at our own sort of political heartstrings of how do you say Black people or Black people did this, we would have access to this wealth and control this and control that, when nothing could be further from the truth. It's an investment idea, and some of it will pay off, but most of it will not, right? In terms of the stock, you're not going to get rich off the stock market. Most of us are not, even those who invest a little bit of resources from it, because in order to get rich, you have to have a lot of capital to invest in the first place, right? Or you're collecting other people's capital and telling them how to invest. And that's not something that's going to be the thing that makes us all rich and puts us on some sort of equal playing field. But it is sold to us as one of these things. So to what you're saying, and it is so amazing too that you remembered that was her platform. Was that how she was going to basically there was going to be weed markets for us and crypto. That was her idea for the Black man in America.
Why she wasn't sponsoring Pop Warner football camps and rap camps and shit like that. Just give us some more pie in the sky opportunities, Kamala Harris.
So really quickly, just on Kim's point, it says the cryptocurrency market faced a brutal sell-off today, with over 110 billion in market value wiped out in a matter of hours. The total market cap plunged from 3.75 trillion to 3.64 trillion as panic selling swept across both Bitcoin and major altcoins. And then right here below, it says, why is the market crashing? And it says the sell-off comes against the backdrop of the ongoing U.S. government shutdown, now in its third week, which has paralyzed the SEC and moved more than 90 crypto ETF applications, including Solana and KRP funds, frozen in limbo. Latest data shows Bitcoin ETF inflows fell to 146.18 billion, down sharply. And so the dynamic has created a supply overhang as veteran investors lock in profits while ETF demand alone fails to absorb the selling pressure. So it's saying obviously part of this is connected to the government shutdown, but as Evan said earlier, this market is volatile, right? This is not a market that is just plain old commodities or something like that. A lot of this is based on grift, right? It's based on who's promoting a certain thing at a certain time and then trying to put it in our pockets. And so yeah. So that there goes another scheme. Black capitalism is, and all of this is all the overhanging fruit is the idea that black capitalism will set us free. And this is just another version of that.
Yeah.
I also pulled up. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was saying, and to your point, the point you were making earlier, right? Like, which is the most frustrating point. The Black people who are pushing crypto on our communities did not make their millions through Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. They made it rapping or chasing a ball, right? Or shooting a ball. Probably not even that. Probably getting bigger money for endorsements from, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, it is incredibly frustrating, and they think we're stupid.
And advertising, right? A lot of these are YouTube people. Some of these folks go on YouTube, they develop the audience, they get people to join them, and just like us, right? They're asking folks to give them money on YouTube, and then YouTube is selling advertising, and they get their cut. So it's and again, those are like 5 or 6 people who that happens to. Everybody else who's selling it don't get nothing. They just think they're going to get something. And that's the beauty of how the capitalist market works. It convinces you, whether or not it happens or not, that if you do these things, you too will be rich. And if you're not rich, who do they blame? They don't blame a system. They blame themselves, right? They blame, like, oh, if I've only hustled that better, or if I got this person to help me hustle it, or if I go get this person to come on and do an advertisement and sit with me, then we can hustle it this way. So it's all about continuing to hustle. When the hustle don't work, then you start a new hustle. And I think that is part of the idea of like why we are not bigger in terms of our own people. Like we've lost a certain initiative that was just, I shouldn't even say we lost it again. Some of it was destroyed in terms of the level of support that Black radicalism had in the community, the level of support that self-determination had in the community has been diminished. And some of the terminology and language of it has been siphoned off, even into the crypto world, where again, people use Black power language, Black liberation language to sell you product where it has nothing to do with getting you rich. And I think until we as radicals or lefties begin to figure out as we fight the government, but the whole idea of like these, what does alternatives look like? How can we show people what some of this looks like? And I know it's hard for us because most of us are not people who are like in the business arena, right? And we don't want to turn into capitalists, but we do have to show our people what some of these what an alternative system looks like. Because if we don't, even through small models, then they just get from us is the same talk they can get from somebody else without the promise, right? Without the idea that they're going to get rich. Because we're not telling people they're going to get rich. We're telling people we can help them survive. We're telling people that we can find alternatives to help them keep their family going. But that is awash in a sea of propaganda that's telling people that they can get rich only if they try harder. And people want to believe it. They still want to believe it.
What's the Earn Your Liberation crew saying? I'm sorry, my bad. That was a slip. Earn Your Leisure. Shout out to the Earn Your Liberation crew also. But what about Earn Your Leisure? They telling y'all niggas, y'all should have sold earlier. See, we told y'all 2 weeks ago y'all was supposed to sell, and y'all hard heads didn't sell. Now y'all got to diversify your portfolios because you'd have lost all your little shillings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's never. Yeah, it's all. And again, like you said, it's always back on their fault. It's never like the system was corrupt or the system was crooked. It's never that. It was just like you made the wrong move at the wrong time. And if you had listened to me, even when they're wrong and they don't tell you, right? Even when they gave you no forewarning, they still make it sound like, yo, you should have saw this. This was going to take this or this. So let's tell you what's going to happen now, how you can save your resources and make them back. If you are not scared and you take more and invest back again, because now is not the time to get out the market. Now is the time to double down. There's a lot of good things to buy out there at this depressed price. So you got to be the first one to jump in. And if you only buy my kit, $19.99, buy my kit. It'll show you how to make those returns. You got to come back in an hour and pay that special Patreon price. And I'm gonna give you the tips you need to go back up in there and pick up on them little lost coins that you think you couldn't have, but now you can have at these prices. So it's always going to be more. It's never going to be, yo, this shit is crazy. I was wrong. I need to get the fuck out of here now, because whatever savings you got, you will lose if you keep on doing this. That's never the hustle.
You have a better return on selling drugs every time. Sorry. So I hear.
That is true. But that is true.
I'm sorry. That's what I was told.
Allegedly. Oh, thank God Kamal's on our side. Jeez, man.
Oh my gosh. One of them slick talking New Yorkers, we would stand no chance of versus him if he was, on the other side.
There's still time. I might,
I don't want you. Don't do that, Kamal. We would be powerless against you, sir.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna go back to your Snap story. I wanted to say, yeah, and this is like the opposite, and this is the way a lot of us live, and a lot of us are going to be, and again, not the majority of people on Snap is not Black folks.
That's what I'm saying. Have these letters gone out to the whites? Has West Virginia gotten these letters? Do they know what is coming for this holiday season? It's going to be a little bit meager.
So it says, state warns SNAP benefits may stop in November if government shutdown continues. States are warning struggling Americans who rely on food stamps to pay for groceries that they may miss out on benefits come November. Starting October 16th, SNAP benefits will not be paid out until the federal government shutdown ends and funds are released to PA. This is in Pennsylvania. Read a notice from the Pennsylvania state website. New Jersey, Maryland, New York, and Texas are among the other states that have issued similar notices. The wave of announcements come after the U.S. Department of Agriculture, which oversees the federal food stamp program, issued a letter to state agencies on October 10th, saying that if the lapse in appropriations continues, there will be insufficient funds to pay full November SNAP benefits. Reached for comment, the White House refers CBS News to the USDA, which then shared the letter it sent to states. Both declined to comment on what a lapse in funding could mean for millions of Americans who rely on the program. Advocates, meanwhile, have warned the effects could be devastating. These are, for the most part, working individuals who still are living paycheck to paycheck. How SNAP benefits are normally administered: over 40 million Americans are enrolled in SNAP. I want to read that again. Over 40 million Americans are enrolled in SNAP. Recipients on average receive a payment of $187, or roughly $6 per day, on prepaid cards that they can use to buy produce, meat, dairy, and other household food staples. When I was a kid, we got food stamps. We didn't have no car. We had the funny money. We had the food stamps. It says, while SNAP is a federally funded program run by the USDA, states are responsible for administering benefits and settling their own disbursement dates. As described by the Food Research and Action Center on its website, the program is a delicate partnership of public and private entities to ensure benefits are available at the first of every month. States send electronic case files with information on SNAP recipients on a monthly basis to an electronic benefits transfer vendor so they can process the data. The other thing that maybe this story is not talking about too is that there's also going to be new requirements to receive SNAP that was passed recently through the Trump bill. New work requirements, new other requirements that you have to fulfill to even receive SNAP payments. So in addition to not only this stoppage of funding, even let's say if it does pick up at some point in the future, there is still the idea that they're still trying to cut these benefits from people. And again, over 40 million people receive these benefits in this country.
Welfare to work, that's very Bill Clinton-esque, isn't it?
Very Bill Clinton-esque.
Are you suggesting, Kim, that the Democrats may have somehow contributed to us getting here? Is that what you're saying? Or
the whole time, beloved, they always clear the path. They always clear the way. So the worst thing can come through with no problems, right? This is going to be bad. It's going to be bad for all that rely on SNAP benefits. And there are already some pivots that some retailers are making. Aldi, which is the discount grocery chain, I think German owned, have already put out a list of how you can have Thanksgiving dinner for $40 and less, right? People, like there's already sort of like a marketing campaign being driven around these government cutbacks. But I'm curious as to what this is going to look like to Trump's base, right? I don't think that they are aware of this because they're awful quiet. They must not know that this is happening. I guess this hasn't been reported on Fox News yet that their SNAP benefits are about to be cut. Or again, so many whites seem to think that only Black and brown people are the recipients of these programs, because there's a lot of shame in white communities around poverty, right? They don't like to admit that they require government assistance. But when their families start going hungry and the Dollar General is cleaned out, like what is really going to happen then? I think this is going to be a really nasty holiday season in this country, just all around. Like, I don't think people are going to be able to afford to do retail shopping in the same way that they've come to expect, nor should they. But at the same time, I really think people are going to have a hard time eating. And it's not just going to be Democrats or people that are on the left, so-called. It's going to be all of the working class and poor folks, including Trump's base. And I'm not sure that they are ready for that.
I mean, well, they'll blame us. Like, we'll be the problem, like, even though we're not controlling the White House and we didn't turn off the government and we weren't sending them stuff, it'll be the radical left's fault, right? So, like, we already know how they're going to respond, right? And we already have copious amounts of like historical data around like what the working class white people in this country tend to do when under crisis, right? Like Gerald Horne talks about this all the time, right? The history of like cross-class collaboration, which is why we have the white supremacist, imperialist, capitalist government that we live under right now, right? So they're going to blame it on us, right? And I do think that, and people talk about this all the time, right? But this idea that this crisis, this impending crisis, this looming crisis is going to automatically lead to some kind of revolutionary, or rather radical revolutionary left change is not, a foregone conclusion, right? It could easily also be a revolutionary right, reaction to this government collapsing, right? And I don't think that people take that seriously enough, right? I don't think that we take that seriously enough, right? And I do think that we should be, building institutions, building programs, right? They're going to sustain people, and that are going to be expressions of community control, right? Such that when these things do collapse, people have someplace to go, right? And people have organizations and people that are trying to explain to them why this is happening and how, right? Because I think if we just leave it to, chance or just, the flow of history, like we're gonna be on the chopping block, right? Regardless of how bad it gets for them, right? We will always be blamed for it.
So my mother's in upstate New York. And so, I drive past any number of Trump flags on the way to my mother's house in central New York. And I'm always because of where she lives, she has a very interesting perspective because of the conversation she has with people who are Trump supporters. And so one of the questions that I ask her constantly, because I'm waiting for the people who support Trump to say something's not right. And there's a group of ex-MAGA people. There's even a nonprofit that got started to provide support to people who want to leave MAGA. It's a whole thing, right?
like deprogramming and
yes,
that kind of thing?
Yes, it's a whole we will provide you support because we understand how difficult it is to deprogram, to leave the cult, to understand that you've been propaganda. It's a whole thing, right? Which is interesting on its own. But when I look at these things that are happening, I think to myself, do these people still think that this was a good idea? And some of them still do. And that's the part of it that for me, I'm where are you at? I don't understand what what is happening when you are actively standing somewhere and saying, I fully support everything that Trump is doing, if it's actively working against your material ability to live and survive. And so I don't know that even in them feeling it, if they're going to recognize the reason that they're feeling it, right? I think, when you listen to how the Republicans talk about this government shutdown, it's not about anything real. It's about the Democrats refusing to go along with the things that they have said are best for their people. So what they're saying literally is, we're trying to support you and the Democrats aren't letting us do it. So when this happens to these people who are deeply invested in their cult mindset, they are going to literally say it's the Democrats' fault because they didn't sign off and not have the. There's going to be total total dissonance. It's it's going to be wild. We're in the upside down, literally.
I just looked up the stats. It said 37% of the people on SNAP are white folks. They're the largest percentage of people on SNAP. Black folks are second with 26, 25%. Hispanics, 26%. I mean, 16% is next, and then it goes down the line from there. But I completely agree. It's they're not. They're going to blame us. They're going to. And what the Republicans will do at some point was as they build, more federal prisons, these white folks will get those jobs. Because remember that, out of the 90s and 2000s, before the fall of the Great Recession, one of the ways that the state economies kept going, was to build more prisons. And where did they build those prisons, particularly in the Northeast, in rural white areas, Where did they fill those prisons up? They fill those prisons up from Black communities, mostly in urban areas. And so they transferred Black bodies to be watched by white bodies to, again, make these white folks think that they are doing some good in the world, that they're protecting the communities from dangerous criminals, all the while they're making shit wages. But they feel, again, like they're more important. They're on top of people. They play a particular role. It gives them a sense of pride. All these things that makes them go like, oh, this country is good, or it's looking out for me, or we're playing our part. And that kind of patriotic rhetoric, which the Republicans excel at, is the thing that I agree with will keep the whites in line for a longer time period. Again, I think if the country goes into a greater recession, that is probably the only way that the MAGA hold will break on the white, on a critical mass of whites. Let me not say the white majority, because again, even during the Great Recession, when Obama ran against McCain, the majority of white folks, when the country was basically near a recession, I mean, we're near a depression, still voted for McCain, right? They're enough peeled off so that Obama won the election. But even during the Great Recession, the majority of white folks voted for McCain. And that Great Recession took place under who? Under Bush, right? So the only thing that will move a critical mass away will be probably a great economic recession that they begin to feel. But I agree, but the poor whites, the cognitive dissidence, the propaganda will continue to set in for the most part, even when they're the ones on the bread lines, because they'll say, like, this had to be done, or this had to be, and I'm a minute away from this or that, or I got a job in as an ICE agent. So once I get that job as that ICE agent, I'm back on somebody's payroll. And again, the way that the country's operating, they are purposely seeking young white men of a certain political identity to fill up these ICE jobs. And this is going to be a way in which they have this overwhelming military force to be unleashed on our streets, to control, not only to be picking up people and saying that they're doing something that's patriotic again, and to control communities. And we're just not, I just continue to echo it. We're just not prepared, analysis wise, obviously, and numbers wise, and implementation wise. So until that stuff happens, we're at a wrecking point for us as a larger community. But again, I don't, I think there's a certain idea, like, again, this No King's March believes that the country can be put back together again in the way that it was, which is never good for us anyway. But the sense of normalcy is what they want. I don't think we're going back to that even, because I think even if these white folks somehow manage to lose an election, which they're going to rig for themselves, this huge critical mass of white nationalism, Christian nationalism, is going to be here for a long time. Whereas we as a people don't have a radical Black nationalism that is sweeping our community. Instead, we have an ADOS, or we have people joining MAGA. We have people thinking Kamala would have been the choice for us. But what we do not have is a logical reaction to what's happening that leads us to more community organizing on a greater scale. And again, that's the fault of the propaganda, but I think it is the fault of the Black left. It is our fault for why we're not doing better or out in our community more, convincing people, right? Despite everything else that we have to put up with to do that, I think there's a sense that we have to do a better job ourselves.
Yeah, and I did want to lift up this comment from Ricky. Apologies, did not mean to detract from what Renee was saying at that moment. Also apologies, I did not read it. But from Ricky, there is an ideological component to that base, the white working base, that supersedes their material conditions as workers. That is what must be contended with inside the house, not by me and mine, right? And I think that speaks to what we're saying, right? But also to this point, Kamal, that you're making, right? That, yeah, like, we need to be arguing this for our people, right? Like the ADOS stuff, like that, that's on us, right? We need to be combating that in our communities, right? But I think we often get, well-meaning, even radical white people, right? Comrades, right? That spend too much of their time in our spaces, right? They need to be going back to their spaces, right? To radicalize their people, to push their people, right? Because there is this, unmistakable hold that this ideological base has on white workers that needs to be contended with. and shows that, just a deterioration of their condition, right, is not going to be enough. And even with the deterioration of their condition, right, there might be enough, I don't know what to say, like inducements or like payoffs, right, in the form of like prison jobs, right, for the new prison that's going to be built, because inevitably there's not enough jobs for workers, right? So of course they need more prisons, right, to manage that surplus population. These communities will get paid off in that way. But to the other elements around the reactionary tendencies within our own communities, like we need to be challenging that. We need to be, in our communities every day, showing that there is another, not just another analysis, but like another program, right, that does not reduce to voting for a Democrat or voting for a Black Democrat.
And I was going to say quickly, like the white folks who are supposed to be our allies, the white lefties, they're telling us to de-emphasize race. So just remember that too. Like these white folks who are supposed to be liberal, left, progressives, they're telling us that they can convince their people to worry about economic populism, but you just can't talk about race. Just leave that race shit out of it, right? That's not confront white supremacy. A couple of lynchings here and there, get over it, deal with it. A couple of more Black folks in prison, deal with it. But that's not get them upset, because we can win them over to this economic populist stance if we don't talk about Black people, if we don't talk about race. And that part is one of the crazy parts for me, right? So, we talked about this last week. It's like there's never a time where I'm going to be in allyship with somebody who thinks that that one, all the economic stuff is our fault in the first place. Two, that holds overtly racist ideas that in a matter of a second, they can switch right back onto those racist ideas, right? That's not any comradeship or solidarity. That's basically lying and setting up the next time where white supremacy will come right back and rear its head in a more overt way, I should say, and then decide that it's going to take back over again or put Negroes in their place again, right? That's not there's no solution to me that talks about some economic populist stands where the idea of racism and self-determination for Black folks, or the idea that Black folks are not being oppressed by an economic system, or even the idea that the U.S. system oppresses people all around the world. Don't talk about that either. It's so weird to me that some of these same people, though, can talk about some things around Palestine and Palestinian self-determination. But if you bring up Black people in that same conversation, those same folks would tell you not to speak on it, or will tell you that it's not that important right now,
or tell you you're playing victim because you bring it up. Because that happens too. So listen, but somebody said it in the chat, and I was literally thinking the exact same thing. So one of the things from Brian Koba's book on Hubert Harrison that will like forever live rent free in my mind is him bringing up the fact that Hubert Harrison was like, white people tell you don't talk about race because they've already elevated their own race. So it's already race first for them. So they don't want you to elevate your race into any space that, has anything to do with them. So don't get fooled by it's class first, because it's class first for them because their race has already been elevated. It's already race first for them. And I was like, God damn it. Like that is such a clear and concise.
Or even the white folks that are on our side of the aisle, so to speak, and say, this is bigger than race. It's not about race. Trump is hurting us all. I don't see Trump shaking down Ukrainian immigrants, South African immigrants, white Afrikaners. Like, this is clearly about race, right? Like, it is only non-white people being accosted, harassed, kidnapped, sent to ICE detention without due process. Have you seen any videos of any whites being accosted on the street by so-called ICE agents?
Actually,
arrested,
not accosted, but I did see a story of a white dude who was refused re-entry into the U.S. and they let his family go and send him back to Canada and told him he can't come back. So
I've seen those stories. I've seen the white traveling from Australia, the white traveling from Germany or Sweden, who was
no. They went from he's from He's
Canada.
from Canada, but
Mhm.
lives in the U.S. with his family and has lived in the U.S. with his family for 20-something years. And they went to Canada to visit his family, and they let his wife and children through and told him he couldn't come back. And I was like,
I guess, I mean, I guess he had to spend a few extra hours in Toronto.
Oh
too
no,
bad.
he's still
You know
there.
what I mean?
No, he's still there.
No, I understand. My point is this: I'm not seeing ICE agents stationed outside of the elementary school in Howard County,
Oh heck
Maryland,
no! Oh
waiting
heck no!
for
No,
waiting for.
No, that ain't happening.
You know what I'm saying? So yes, I know some foreign whites have been inconvenienced, you know what I'm saying, but they have not been brutalized and kidnapped and denied due process.
Concurred. Yeah, I wasn't disagreeing with that. I was just there are whites who are being impacted. I just wanted to say that, but it is definitely not one at the rate that Black and brown people are being, nor is it in the same way that Black and brown people are being impacted. So.
And as we discussed last week, the whole idea of the system is now to create an immigration system that favors white immigration as they dispose of the Black and brown folks who are already here, right? That's part of the whole Trumpism immigration system. Less immigrants, but the ones who get to come in are white, South African, as we already talked about, from other places, European, and those with certain ideological bents, right? Because part of what they've said is that they'll let certain whites in, and particularly those whites who are being, in their words, oppressed in their home countries because of their ideology or because of their skin color or because they're facing genocide, as in their call around what they say is happening in South Africa.
Or because of their views on mass immigration to their countries.
Yeah.
But can we pull up real quick, because this has been the best response to ICE that I think I've seen ever, and this also lives rent free in my head because Kim, I don't know if you saw this, but
what's that? What we got?
Is this the Instagram story?
Yes.
Okay, let me.
Oh.
We don't like none of you. You okay? No, how can I be okay? You okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? I look like I'm okay? Don't come up in my face here because I hit hard. What's wrong with y'all?
Try it.
I wish you would.
Try it.
You try me and see what the fuck happens. Be angry. All of us angry out here. So don't think it's y'all alone.
Get out of here.
You who you telling get out of here? Why you telling me get out of here? You asked me a question and I'm answering you.
Get out of here. Man.
What's wrong with you? Oh, stupid ass. You gotta hide your face.
You wanna go to jail?
You call me my mother, I can tell you anything. What's wrong with you? You wanna hit me? Hit me! You ain't got me, nobody's scared of you. Come. I got rings on, bitch, so yeah, you gonna fight. That's why your kids them don't like you, and your wife is on you. That's why you gotta hide your face. My face ain't hidden. I'm American, you stupid. Wrong with y'all? You can take me too high. I'm sure in the Zodiac first. You know what to do? Tell them, no. You want me? Wrong with y'all? Fuck you. Put that on the news. Let Trump see it.
I think they might be more beginning, so y'all want to.
You go to jail for that.
For what?
What's going on?
What's
What's going on? What are you guys doing?
Somebody please make sure.
Yes, she do. She just told he gotta come back to court.
What's wrong with you guys?
Let me just get a paperwork. We just trying to confirm.
So back up, at least give him space. You could do what you do, but just give him space.
We're trying to
too.
give him space.
I can't.
No, I don't know what you want. You guys think.
Yeah, that one works.
Where are you guys going? What's wrong with you guys?
That is working, man. All right, sir. So go get your can't buy immigration.
Why? Tell him why.
Is that it?
No, I'm playing it from the beginning because they're showing them arresting the guy as he's coming out of the immigration court at an immigration hearing.
That's why y'all are a bunch
Oh,
of.
that's it.
But I wish you would. I wish you would. Yes.
She was like, pussy hole. Fuckery.
No. And I haven't gone back to watch Kim from Friday yesterday. So I didn't I
Look
didn't
at the
realize
Fire
you
fam
played it
chiming
already. I
in.
know. They were
I
like,
said,
Kim played it on Friday. I was like,
I said I'm a hush
yes.
because, and I played the unedited version. So go watch the unedited version on
Yes.
Burning Down with Kim Brown. But no, women have been standing on business out here versus all these pussy hole out here.
Yes.
ICE agents, the Latinas in Chicago cussing them niggas every day on site. Get the fuck out of our neighborhood. Fuck you. Da, da, da. Shout out to Miramar Martinez, the sister who was allegedly in her vehicle as part of a, the ICE reconnaissance. She was following ICE and they shot her 5 times and she survived. And they hit her with federal charges and she's out right now. But the women out here have been ferocious and I love it.
Yeah. I appreciate that clip. That clip gives me warm fuzzies. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, what's the accent, y'all? Was that Jamaican? I know it
Definitely.
obviously Caribbeans, but
Yeah, no, she's Jamaican. Yeah.
Jamaican. Okay, just
shout out to the punk ass ICE agent in the gray who stepped to her. Was like, "You got a problem?" That's code for like, you got a problem trying to incite a fight. That dude's a coward. Obviously, we already knew that given his affiliation, but just to see it in action, cowardly. Shout out, you know what I'm saying, to the security guard who put himself in between that woman and those ICE agents, right? Again, bare minimum, but he could have chose to do something different. I appreciate him choosing to do that, to actually try to de-escalate the situation and let her get off her words. Yeah, man, like disrespect these people. These people don't deserve your respect, your admiration, they deserve your attention, but that type of attention.
And this is what they're doing. People are literally going to court for court dates that have been set by an immigration judge to go see about their immigration status. And ICE is basically loading up at these courts to arrest people when they're following all the rules that they were told to follow. So it shows you how those rules don't matter. Like I wouldn't even fucking why would I go to court? Why show up at this stage? If you show up, the only thing you're doing is risking your arrest. You're safer staying at home. You're safer going about your daily business and being protected another way. Because if you go to their court system thinking that they're going to obey their own rules, they're going to keep their own precedents, then you are wrong. And these cats don't care. They have no sympathy, no empathy. Black ones, white ones, Latino ones, they sitting up there with their jobs. They sit up there thinking again that they're enforcing some law. It doesn't matter if they're breaking the law as they're enforcing it. They sitting up there proud of themselves, going back afterwards, chatting it up with each other, think about how they done some good work and how they kick somebody out the country. Literally being screamed on by women, men, children whose families are being separated as they're doing it. And they're going home proud of themselves because they got a paycheck. And they can go see their kids and go see their family and go take their kids to the park, thinking that they've done something constructive with their time. This is the propaganda system that we have to fight because these folks think that they literally in their mind think they're doing something heroic or normal. No, the words don't even get to them. They're so confused in their mind because they got a job.
Yeah.
I just want to real quick chime in because people in the chat are like, how are you sure she's Jamaican? I wasn't. I just like to claim people. And so I'm not sure.
I'm laying
her slang was Jamaican.
I'm laying money she's Jamaican.
Well, this did push me to look real quick, and there's word that she's actually from St. Vincent. So
St. Vincent and Grenadine. I was going to call. That was my next guess.
Could be. So I will stand down on my claims, but either way, she's from the Caribbean, and only Caribbean women.
People are so.
I can hear the slight differences from island to island, but I can't yet attribute which island to attribute those slight accent differences to from the Caribbeans. It's fascinating, but yeah, shout out to her. I loved it. Mm-hmm. But these ICE agents, here's the thing, y'all. These are the same ICE agents. They have no problems brutalizing women. They have no problem. Like for the sister in Chicago, Miramar Martinez, before she was shot, the fucking ICE agent, apparently her attorneys have body cam footage that shows the ICE agent I don't know if he had his hand on his sidearm or if he was carrying a big gun, but she went to make a move or got out of her car, did something. And he said, do something, bitch, and put his hand on his gun, was ready to shoot her. I've seen these ICE agents, basically, they look like they're role-playing RAPE scenarios when it comes to the way they brutalize and manhandle women, throw them to the ground, not letting, it's really very, very scary things. And not to mention the number of men that are out here posing as ICE agents committing sexual violence against women, especially those that may have, questionable migrant status, etc. I mean, it is very, very scary times out here. So regardless, it doesn't even matter what your status is, y'all. The mandem is out here being more dangerous than what we're accustomed to. So please be on your P's and Q's.
I had an old head question real quick. Evan, why do people say unalive?
Why are you asking him?
Yeah, I was
He's
like,
young.
oh,
This is his generation. That's
that is
like
a-
I wouldn't ask you about trap music, Kim. Go
But I
ahead,
have
Evan.
the answer for why they say unalive, but go ahead,
Yeah.
Evan. I'd like to hear the young people answer.
it's framed as a young people answer or as a generational thing, but that generational thing is influenced by media culture. So my understanding is that in media on these YouTube streams, we can't say the word that we normally use in normal parlance, right? So people start using this other term, unalive. I think the young piece is that you have a lot of young people, right, who learn how to engage with this idea via TikTok, via social media, and then in real life start using that language as well where it's not necessary. So that would be my assessment.
The kids are more quicker to understand the algorithm, and they understand that when you say words like KILL and MURDER, sometimes the algorithm can suppress content that contain those words. So that's why they very creatively came up with unalived.
Okay. Learn something
I
new
feel like
every day.
we don't need any other strikes against us. So I'm just trying to.
I don't have no problems with the youth. The youth, y'all are all right with me out here. I know some of your parents, so I understand why some of y'all's fucked up. Not you, Evan. I'm talking about the other you. I know your mamas and daddies, so I understand why you a little fucked up, because your mom and dad a little fucked up too. So yeah.
Well, I'm glad this generation can talk to another generation and get an understanding of where we stand on certain things, because it's different times, and I think we all need to be able to communicate. With that said, communicating, what's coming up on Saturdays with Renee this Saturday?
So we're continuing our conversation about community violence and policy and how to actually address community violence in a material way versus just, as a nonprofit collecting funds. So we had Lawrence from LBS on last week. Lawrence is coming back this week. He's going to be joined by Alec Karakatsanis, who wrote the book Propaganda, and we're going to have a whole conversation around that. And then right now, in like 2 minutes, like I'm literally going to have to hop off because I'm going to get on Millennials and talk to Jared about the Alabama Solution documentary that's out. Because
tell Jared I said what up. We ain't seen him in a while.
Will do.
So what you got coming up, Kim?
Tonight won't be like any night. Tonight there will be no morning sun. Y'all don't have no class. Anyway, come on out tonight. Burn It Down with Kim Brown, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Is today Tuesday? Yes, it is. So the show is on tonight. Come hang out.
Okay. That dude Lawrence can talk, boy. I was watching some of this show Saturday. Whew. Yeah. All right, what you got coming up, Kamal?
Why?
All right.
Did you hear what he was saying, though? Yes, he was talking, but he was dropping ginormous gems in a full-on Baltimorean accent. It was glorious.
Yeah, I heard. Couldn't get a word in edgewise. Evan, what you got coming up?
Oh my God. I want to highlight the.
I love it when they admit that they do not like to listen. Yes, go ahead. Yes, I'm sorry,
Evan. Well, I hope we can listen this Wednesday because Paco will be having another ASSG, Assad Shakur Study Group. This one, again, is for in alignment with BAP's Month of Action Against AFRICOM. And it is also a co-sponsored event, right? So it'll be PACA, it'll be BAP DC, it'll be the All African Revolutionary People's Party. Apologies. And the
African
topic will
alt-right
be
coming out. Yes, I'm sorry. My bad.
the acronyms, man. I get messed up. The party. And the topic will be global impacts of U.S. militarism in Africa and building resistance in D.C. So please, someone dropped the link for me in the chat, but please use that link to sign up. Thank you. And it'll be on Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m. per usual.
All right. That's business. All right. Well, we will check y'all out tomorrow morning, same time, 8 a.m. for some more of the Remix Morning Show. Y'all have a great rest of your day and be productive, organized. Peace out. Remix Morning Show. Not do that one. Now let me put
Remix. 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 Remix.